Shawn, you're in the bathroom right now, but I just want to tell you that I'm a Star Wars fan again, and I love it so much, and I'm so happy. I am unapologetically a Star Wars fan, and Bob and everybody can say whatever the fuck they want about Star Trek. Ooh, we like science. Fuck that. Give me laser swords all the way, 100%. Fuck those red shirts. Don't cut this. What's up, everybody? I'm Richard.
And I'm Shawn.
And we're speaking the language of romance. And Shawn, I'm so excited. I'm the most excited I've ever been. And I'll tell you why, because so obviously we're a little late to the party on release on putting this out, just because we had bunches of other stuff to talk about before, but now we have even more to talk about. And Shawn, I'm in love again. Shawn, I fell in love again.
I see the look in your eye. I got a call.
God. It feels so good.
Friday night. So when we're recording this is like, let's get behind the scenes, right?
Yes,
we're recording this 3 days after a big event in December.
Yes.
And I got a phone call and I'm like, hey, what's up? And you're like, hey, did you watch it? And
For
I said,
the record,
what, Showgirls?
Yeah, that's exactly. Actually, yes, that's exactly what you said verbatim. Oh shit, I forget. See, I'm all over the place. Oh my God, I'm all over the place. Everything's everywhere, but I don't care because I'm happy and I'm in love. I'm in love again, and it feels so good. It feels so good in my heart of hearts.
It's like getting your childhood back.
Oh, it really is. 100%.
Realizing that badge you earned in Boy Scouts, you really did earn it.
Yep. So I'm sure it's in the title, so there's no need to bury it. Mandalorian. Watch the season finale. Season finale for us. Like again, I said, you're listening to this. This is a bit of a time travel loop thing, but this is 3 days after the season finale of season 2 of The Mandalorian. I don't need to say spoilers. It's already implied, but I saw it. I watched it with my 2 kids, and immediately, as soon as it was over, I realized that I needed to call somebody. I needed to call another human. I needed to talk about this with another person. And so who do I call? I call my best bro. I call Shawn. And what was Shawn doing? I'll tell you what Shawn was doing.
Family.
He was spending time with his family. Like some sort of fucking plebe.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't understand what just happened in the world.
Yeah. I was planning on when we got back to the hotel room, we're going to watch it. And we get in there because my wife loves Mandalorian. That's the one show she watched with me. We talked about this last year after season 1 because we were both like pleasantly surprised after season 1. And I'm like, babe, we got to watch it. Something happened. I don't want to get spoiled. And she's like, wait, what are we going to watch it on? I was like, we're going to watch it on my phone.
Yeah.
She's like, what?
Because that's all you had.
Like they do in Jersey. And so we had to wait 2 days until we got home.
Oh my God, it was killing me. It was literally killing me because I'm on the phone with him and I'm like, Shawn, did you watch the season finale of Mandalorian? And he said, no, I'm spending time with my kid. And I said, fuck you. Put the kid somewhere. Leave the child with a stranger.
Yeah, you said put him up for adoption. It worked for Grogu.
Because you need to go find some sort of screen and you need to watch it right now. And he said, it's fine. I'll watch it tonight. Mm-hmm. And I said, great, fantastic. I was like, as soon as you're done, you have to call me. I don't care what time it is. I don't care what's going on, but you need to call me as soon as you're done watching it, which I know you will anyway. And he could tell, Shawn could tell from my voice that this meant a lot to me, that was very exciting and he needed to watch it.
That's why when my wife broke my heart and said we have to wait till we get home, I couldn't even call you. I had to text you and be like, "Hey, wife said no go because it's on the phone. going to bed night.
And I was upset. I was legit upset. And you know why? Because there's nobody I could talk about this with.
And you know, when we talked on the phone for a good 15, 20 minutes and you let nothing go.
No.
Like you didn't, like I had no hints of anything.
In fact, I even reiterated, do not. I was like, well, if you're not, if you haven't watched it, I was like, you need to stay off of everything.
Yeah.
No Twitter. No
did
Facebook, no Instagram, nothing.
But I did catch a couple glimpses of Mark Hamill's tweets that kind of helped allude to what happened, but it still was worth it for sure.
Oh my God. I didn't see anything and the whole thing caught me by surprise. Okay, now.
Yeah, let's go through your reactions because I want to know your journey through this season too.
So let's go. Let's start. Because this is going to dovetail definitely into something that we actually missed because we did our bro huddle, like a few weeks ago. And one thing that we didn't mention because at the time it hadn't happened yet. I think
it was like 3 days after we recorded or a day after we recorded.
Like a day or 2 days after we recorded. All of a sudden, fucking Lucasfilm strolls up to a microphone. It's like, listen, we're gonna give you we're gonna write up this dump truck full of Star Wars content, and we're gonna just ask you to say and we're gonna dump it in your face.
Yeah, it's like you want a movie every year. Guess what? You're getting an hour of TV every other day.
Oh my God.
Blah,
okay.
Blah, 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 blah,
so we're gonna do Star Wars, and then we're gonna do Mando, and then we're gonna go into these announcements. And I'll tell. And the reason, like, okay, so before, I'm all over the place. I need to calm down. Okay. Okay.
And then this happened, and then this happened, then this happened.
I 100% sound like an 8-year-old. And then the guy, and then the space wizard showed up, and I was anyway. So to set up pre me watching this finale, Lucasfilm announces that they're doing they announced like 8 or 9 different projects. And we talked about it after we saw the announcement, and we were like, I don't know, man, this seems like a lot. Like, Mandalorian's good, but like, this seems like a lot. This seems like a lot to do. Like a lot of different, wheels turning, a lot of moving parts. Okay.
Well, when you add on top all the announcement of like, here's all the Marvel stuff too, like there's a lot of content coming down the pathway.
Exactly. 100%. Okay. So that was my impression. That was kind of how I felt. I was like, man, I don't know if they can do all of this justice considering that it's a lot. That's a lot of stuff, you know? So let's get to the season finale of Mandalorian. So the whole thing starts, the episode starts with Din and Boba and oh God, the sheriff. I can't remember her name off the top of my head.
I'll look it up. Keep talking.
The drop trooper. But they capture an Imperial shuttle that's holding the scientist that we saw back in season 1 that had tried to experiment on Grogu, or had done experimentation on Grogu. And they're gonna commandeer this shuttle and use it to get close to that light cruiser that Moff Gideon uses as basically like his base of operations. So, couple things. Number one, like, did you not feel during that conversation between the Imperial pilot, like, because the pilot grabs the doctor and puts a gun to his head and is talking to the drop trooper,
Cara Dune.
Cara. I wanted to say Cara, but I was afraid I'd fuck it up. But he's talking to Cara, and did you not feel like he was almost kind of trying to humanize the Empire a little bit?
I mean, it's a sense of like, it's weird. We talked about this a little bit on the phone. It's weird because with with Star Wars, they always kind of say like the Empire is like the Nazis, and everybody hates Nazis, right?
Who here loves a Nazi?
And I was trying to think of like in most wars, like every side does a good job of trying to make one evil and one good, right? Because otherwise, why are you fighting a war?
Exactly. I always think of this. There's a comedy sketch where these, I think it's Mitchell and Webb, the Mitchell and Webb look, where the two guys are Nazis and they're behind enemy lines, and they're like, and one of them's like, "Did you ever notice our uniforms have skulls on them?" And he's like, "What? Our skulls. Our uniforms have skulls on them." And then he stops for a second and he's like, "Are we the baddies?" "What do you mean? Are we the baddies? Like, we have skulls on our uniforms." And I feel like in a way, like, because you always wonder, like, why were the Nazis Nazis? And in this case, like, why do people work for the Empire? Like, don't they know what the Empire does?
I mean, it's probably a little bit of, I say propaganda in terms of, they always say like each side has propaganda.
Sure.
But, I mean, you think about like, there's probably a guy who needed a job and he was working, he was the plumber on the Death Star, right?
Yeah.
He wasn't trying to like turn anything over. He was just trying to make ends meet for his family.
Exactly. And going right to the heart of that pilot was like, your rebellion blew up the Death Star. And she's like, "Which one?"
Yeah. He's like, he said, "I was on that Death Star." And she said, "Which one?"
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he lost a ton of friends, right? Like,
yeah,
I'm sure
he's
that
like, I had a bunch of friends that died he called them bases. He said, I had friends that died on both of those bases.
And I don't know if that guy was really was he an evil person or was he just somebody that was found his way into this? I mean, this job, he got recruited. It's like, it's either this or I keep working on the farm. And, is this a good cause? I don't know. It gets me off this planet, which is exactly what happened with Luke.
Yeah.
Somebody found him, is like, "Hey, you should come join us." He's like, "Yeah, great idea."
Yeah,
what if
cool.
it was Darth Vader that found him first? Hey, we're going to go fight these terrorists that are attacking our bases and our ships.
Fucking eco-terrorists are showing up.
But yeah, I think, and I'm curious if we'll start seeing a little bit more gray in that stuff. So they'll try to make, I think it's simple to make good versus evil, right? It makes it a lot easier. But when you start,
especially I would say in the Star Wars universe, it's almost kind of necessary. Like you almost don't want to muddy that water because it feels like it fundamentally fucks with the formula.
If you push it too hard and you have a bunch of people pushing for the Empire being like, the Empire actually kind of has a point here. Like, everything just goes down the toilet.
Right. But I think that, obviously since we as the audience have the benefit of viewing the entire board.
Yeah.
Since we have the overall broader context, obviously we know Empire bad, Rebellion good, or in this case, Empire bad, New Republic good. But it's really interesting that it's like the second to the last episode and this one, they try to kind of put a more human face on the Empire to where these guys, where it almost like these guys aren't necessarily like fanatical, and if they are fanatical, like you get a kind of insight into why they are fanatical.
It's interesting if you look back at I think it was not Rise of Skywalker, but The Last Jedi, where these guys are just more casualties of war in a sense that like you have something that's pushing all this money and all these weapons and stuff out there, and these are just more pawns to the thing that kind of got caught up in this galactic war. These two guys are not good or bad. They're just trying to survive. Like when he shot that guy that was his partner, it's like, oh my God, that's a really evil thing. But what if he was trying to get to his family?
Yeah.
Or what if he was trying to sell this turn this doctor into somebody to be able to get back to his family? Like maybe it wasn't like a noble cause, but maybe it was, his way to get away from all this.
And also, what the fuck is up with Imperials like trying to off themselves? Like this is the third instance in as many episodes where Imperials are just like, oh, fuck it, suicide pill, or I'm gonna shoot myself in the face.
Yeah, I mean, it's the New Republic, so they probably, if they could get them turned to their side, it's like, oh, well, yeah, you can fly a ship. Why not just join our party?
Yeah, and like, hey, on the bonus, like, if you get caught, like, we don't ask you to shoot yourself in the face.
It's not a prerequisite.
Yeah. But it seems like these Imperials, like, all the time, like, they get caught or captured. They're like, well, pew!
Well, and the thing now, too, is, like, Darth Vader's not around, so they don't have to worry about, like, that.
Yeah, they don't have to worry about some guy force choking them to death, but then they still gotta die, so they're like, well, I guess it's up to me. So that's that. We're at that point before we've even rolled the title card, okay? So we get that whole bit. Oh, Cara Dune, by the way, shoots that guy in the face.
Yeah, she does.
Because he starts talking shit about Alderaan. And that's
like,
not something you want to do.
She's like, I'm going to dot your eye, bitch.
Yeah.
She did, too.
Yeah, he did. Or yes, she did. So then we get the title card. And then this I also loved. You get Din and Boba walking into that bar at the same time with the music playing. Like, did that not give you that whole, I was like, oh my God, it's like a buddy cop movie.
Yeah, I can see that.
I was like, give me more of this. I was like, give me all of season 3 where it's just fucking Din and Boba like fucking palling around the galaxy.
It was kind of like, I felt like you could have expanded that scene a little bit more, because it was definitely kind of like, you should join with us. And they're like, fuck you. Then they fight.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, we'll join you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was definitely like, I think it was, in the first season, you had the classic, like, Din was going around and like collecting his group, like almost like Ocean's 11 putting together his crew.
Yeah.
And I think they didn't want to like rehash that.
Yeah, I get that.
So you just get this one little bit, because they're really the only element that was missing was to get oh God, so many people, and there's people in this episode and I keep forgetting their names. The 2 Mandalorians. Oh my God. Anyway,
I can't remember their names.
It's funny because I watched I watched Clone Wars, so I can't think of her name just off the top of my head. Vizsla. Anyway, so they have their plan. Boba's basically gonna like act like they're getting, the shuttle's getting shot at, and that's gonna give the shuttle their way in to the light cruiser. Problem is that Moff Gideon, the bad guy, who how does he play such a good villain? And I don't mean like he's not a villain in like the mustache twirly like kind of way, but he's so just like, he's like smooth.
Yeah. The 2 Jedis you're talking about was Casca and Bo-Katan.
Bo-Katan, thank you. Oh my God, all these names are just fall out of my head. So yeah, I mean, how do you feel about I think it's Carlito Esposito as Moff Gideon?
I enjoyed it. I think, like you said, very kind of dark, very kind of menacing. Like, not like you said, it's just up to the border of like mustache twirling.
Giancarlo Esposito, sorry.
But I love this. I mean, like you said, in this whole thing, he's still alive.
Yes. Spoilers, he does survive. He makes it. He makes it to the end. He's not dead. Again, tries to kill himself.
Hides a blaster, puts it to his head.
Yeah.
Tries to kill people first.
But then he tries, like any apparently good Imperial should, tries to shoot himself in the face, but
I must come one with the dark side.
Yep. But Cara Dune is a little too fast for him.
I'm kind of like, with this episode, the only thing that was a little rough with it is it seemed like they got to the end kind of quick, like the means to the end. Like even the Dark Troopers seemed like they kind of like, it looked like they got rid of them, but they came back. But it was definitely a good kind of push and pull. Like it played on your emotions really well, like a very roller coaster feel.
Yeah.
Like you get rid of them, you're like, oh, sweet, they're gone. That's smart. Because even my wife, as we're watching this, she's like, that was kind of stupid. But I was like, well, no, actually, it makes sense. Like these dark stormtroopers would never really be intended to fight on the ship. They'd always be made more for like sending out to do stuff. So of course there'd be some kind of exit hatch.
Yeah.
And I completely forgot about them being able to fly and not needing oxygen. And so I was like, well, yeah, obviously they would come back.
Right.
The battle between the dark stormtrooper and the Mandalorian, I thought that was legit. Like that
also,
was a good fight.
Deep cut on the Dark Trooper. The Dark Troopers, and I think I told you this the other day. The Dark Trooper is actually from a old video game from like, oh God, when did old video game from like circa like 95, 96, called Dark Forces, which basically, so if anybody hasn't played Dark Forces, it was basically a it was Doom, or actually no, I'd say it was Wolfenstein with a Star Wars skin. 95 is when it came out. So the story in the game was you played a guy called Kyle Katarn, and you are actually in the beginning, in the very first mission of the game, you're stealing the plans for the original Death Star.
Oh, cool.
And so you're the one that hands the plans to, the original Death Star that gets it. Obviously that, got cut out with Rogue One, but in the game takes place just after A New Hope. So in between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. So you're Kyle Katarn, and you find out about this secret Imperial project called the Dark Trooper, which was basically the Empire trying to make a indestructible, superior stormtrooper. And it starts out as like just a plain rope. There were three phases of the Dark Trooper. The first one is just like a robot that has like a little sword on its wrist. The second phase Dark Trooper, I think, was like an armor set over a robot, and then the phase 3 Dark Trooper was like basically a full-on droid in stormtrooper armor, like beefed up stormtrooper armor that had this big fucking massive cannon. So the Dark Troopers are in Mandalorian as these like basically like uber droids. Their armor withstands blaster fire. They're super tough. They're super strong. Moff Gideon has a whole bunch of these on his ship. So the plan is we're going to open the airlock, or we're going to make sure they don't get activated, and it'll be fine. And so the plan is Mando's going to make sure the Dark Troopers don't activate, and everybody else is going to head to the bridge and take over the ship. So we get to the ship just, so Slave One barely gets, the distraction going, and the shuttle lands inside the light cruiser. Boba Fett takes off. We don't hear from Boba Fett again.
Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah.
So how did you feel about that entry onto the ship? Like, I thought it was pretty smart. It wasn't a very typical, like, oh, we got fake access codes or any of this. It was just more of like, oh my God, we're under attack. Hurry, we need an emergency landing. And they're like, no, we're sending TIE fighters. And they're like, fuck, time to improvise.
Yeah. It definitely felt like you're right. It definitely felt like what they did was definitely plan B. No, I was totally fine with it. Din goes and does not manage to get the Dark Troopers deactivated, but he starts to shut the blast doors, and one of them, just one, manages to get out to fight Din while the other ones are waiting for the doors to open. How did you feel about that fight between Din and just one phase 3 Dark Trooper?
I mean, he was getting his ass kicked, and he held his own to an extent. And once he got his pure vibranium, or is it not vibranium? Beskar. once he was able to use that to defeat it, because even like his flamethrower didn't really do anything.
No.
Like now he's just got this pissed off, flaming, dark trooper.
Yeah, none of it was doing shit. And he just, like, that trooper just punching him in the head.
And
like,
his helmet's so strong.
Good.
No. Like, you talk about CTE in football, but like it's like his helmet's so indestructible that when he's hitting it, he's just going through the ship.
Yeah, he's going through the deck plating in the ship.
But now you have to think too. So like you see that, like he's barely able to hold off on one, and we see somebody take on the whole troops like without any issues.
Yeah.
Like now you think about badassery. There's your badass right there.
So Din manages to like you said, he pulls out the spear, stabs Dark Trooper, and manages to send all the rest out of the airlock in the ship. So then you're like, oh, that's good. At least we don't have to worry about those guys.
That's what I thought. I was like, haha, good call there, buddy.
One for the good guys.
Fuck you, robots.
So then Din goes and he finds Grogu. But Grogu has an unwanted guest in his prison cell, and it's Moff Gideon with the Darksaber.
Yeah. This was kind of an awkward exchange between the two, because as it was going on, I'm like, is he just going to take the kid and leave? Or is Moff Gideon like fucking with him?
Yeah, Yeah, you totally,
I mean,
like, is Moff Gideon like, is he being serious here?
Yeah, and you're like, is Mando being serious? Like, one of these guys is going to fuck the other one. Like, that's just what's going to happen.
Right.
And, they did really good showing that solid Veskar spear in his back. I'm like, you know what's going to happen? He's going to try and cut and hit that thing. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But I didn't I guess I forgot, like, his armor is pure Veskar as well.
Right.
I know that spear was, but I guess I didn't realize his armor was as well.
Yeah. Yeah. The armor is and the spear is. So obviously Moff Gideon's the one that's like, haha, just JK, stab, stab, stab. So they have their little fight. It's similar to the fight between Ahsoka and that other Imperial commander. But Din ends up winning in the end and takes the Darksaber. So now Din has the Darksaber, and they go off to the bridge, and Bo-Katan is like, hey, is that the Darksaber? And Din's like, oh yeah, here you go. And she's like, ah, fuck.
Well, Moff Gideon is the one. He's like, oh, you dumb bastard. She can't just take that. She's got to win it in battle. He's like, okay, I yield. Here, take it. And it's like, ha ha ha. Like, she could she could do that, but then she would know. And it's the story that matters.
Yeah.
Which we talked about. Like, I feel like that's kind of dumb, because as they've shown, both, like, Mando, I feel, is like what you consider like a strict religious Mandalorian.
Right.
And Bo-Katan is kind of like, the Catholic or the Christian that goes to church like on Easter and Christmas. It's like, yeah, I believe in it, but I still kind of take my helmet off and, do what I want.
Well, and also, and I mentioned this to you, like, I know you didn't watch much of the Clone Wars, but as far as I remember, like, Bo-Katan didn't win the Darksaber in combat. Like, I think if I remember correctly, the Darksaber was given to Bo-Katan in the first place.
Yeah, so there's precedence for it. And they just said battle, so it's like, okay, I challenge you to a battle of wits. 2 plus 2. I say it's 7. It's 4. Ah, damn it, you've beat me in battle.
There you go.
The Darksaber is yours.
Like, why don't they just, like, find a quiet room where it's just the two of them, and Din's just like, look, just take it. And then you can be like, oh, I kicked his ass totally.
Yeah. Oh, ow. I need a Band-Aid.
Yeah. But then who shows back up? The Dark Troopers show back up. Because they have jetpacks. Which is something apparently. Oh, you know what? Actually, before we even get there, like, did you not love Din and not Din, like Bo-Katan and everybody just like methodically making their way to the bridge?
Yeah, it was a good kind of like SWAT team kind of thing. And like when when Dune's her blaster like malfunction, she's like messing with it and like basically doing like Star Wars cursing.
Yeah.
And the two other Mandalorians like, do you need help with that? She's like, oh, I got it. Doors
and then
open.
For a second, it jams, and she just starts hitting people with it.
No, I thought my favorite part though is when they're crossing that bridge. You see the two Mandalorians, Bo-Katan, and them fly off, and so they're walking across. You see some stormtroopers like, "Halt! Drop your weapons!" And then just from underneath this thing, the Bo-Katan and Kasaka come out just like,
Yep. Did you notice the fact that was all women, just like making like just fucking laying waste to a capital ship full of stormtroopers?
I mean, I made note of it, but it wasn't kind of like over the top.
Exactly.
There wasn't like this scene where they come out of the elevator and it's like a slow pan and it's like girl power,
right? So and I feel like this is the overriding theme of the entire, not just this episode, but I would say the entire show up to this point, is that every single cool moment that happens in this episode is 100% earned.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And because of that, like, since all of it was earned, none of it was forced.
Exactly.
Like, I mean, the best example I can think of, you watch Avengers Endgame and Captain Marvel gets the Infinity Gauntlet and, oh, we got to take it to this place. Oh, it's okay. She's got help. And then like all the quote unquote women of Marvel show up and it feels like a shoehorned moment.
Yeah.
And so it almost like takes you out of it and you're like, I get what you're doing and that's cool, but like, did you need to make it like,
it's kind of like you'll wait for the wink to the camera.
Yeah. I'm like, just let it happen.
Like in that one, like okay, all the women are fighting together and it seems like they're kind of really pushing this. Okay, I see what's going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, with this one, like it wasn't until after the battle, it's like, these are all women. This is kind of, like,
and they're all kicking ass.
Yeah.
They're shooting people in the face. And one of the chicks' guns doesn't work, and she's like, fuck it, and she starts beating people with it.
Yeah, Cara Dune's got a soft spot in my heart. Gina Carano.
Yeah.
Is her real name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good. You had spent time with each one of those characters individually. You have like a sense of their story. And so when they're all like, hey, we're all, the four of us are going to fucking go through this ship and just, demolish motherfuckers.
Yeah.
It's not forced. And so it feels earned. And I thought it was fucking amazing.
Yeah. And I think whenever you have stuff like that, I think when you feel, not that like you're like, oh, okay, they finally earned it, but when it doesn't feel like, oh, okay, it's something that's trying to be put in here to mark off a checkbox or anything. Like it felt natural. It felt like part of the show.
Yeah. And for me, like as soon as I clicked in my head, I'm like, oh my God, I was like, this is, like this is a group of women. I mean, and let's be honest, like if there was no Princess Leia, like you wouldn't have this.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
Like that's how it made me feel. I'm like, it's gone from Princess Leia. It's gone from Princess Leia to this, like, and they're, like four women marching through a ship, fucking just laying waste. And it was amazing. And like we said, it was earned.
Mm-hmm.
And so it didn't feel it, since it didn't feel forced. It was great. It was awesome. Good to see. We get to the Dark Troopers get back. They come back on the ship. And then everybody's like, we're fucked. Because there's a lot of them. And there's only 5 of us. Yeah. And then there's this little baby. But
he's kind of pooped right now.
Yeah.
And this kind of mimics last season's episode, too. Where it's like we're outgunned. We're outnumbered.
Yep.
But with that, it's like, well, this isn't anything special. These are just more troopers. Like good troopers. But not
we don't have a cool Tycho robot that's going to show up and save the day.
Yeah, has anybody got one of those in their pocket? That's what helped us last time. No?
This really funny robot blew himself up. Anybody?
Hey, kid, do you blow up? Eee! Whack. Nope.
So the door's getting like pounded to shit. These giant blast doors are just, like the impending doom is coming. And you're sitting there like I 100% was sitting there like, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, this is the last stand kind of thing. It's like, it's been an honor to serve with you.
Yeah.
And you're going to go down fighting.
You get that feeling. I would say even more so than in last season, because in last season, they were in a building. And so you're sitting there going like, well, they could find a way out.
Yeah.
Like they could, find a sewer grate or something and they'll jump in and everything will be fine. But I'm sitting here going, no, the only exit is space.
Yeah. In space, there's no secondary exit.
Yeah. I'm like, their only way to get out is space. And no, I don't see anybody wearing a spacesuit.
Yeah. My thoughts when this was happening is like, well, is Boba going to come back and kind of like just blow this ship to shreds?
Yeah.
Because he just disappeared.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Boba was like, deuces, I'm out. You're on your own.
Yeah, that was my initial thought. I'm like, well, maybe Boba will show back up and then, cause enough of a distraction that they can all, get away. But nothing was happening. And then an alarm goes off. Oh my God. Okay. So I gotta scoot back a little bit. Okay. Shawn, an alarm sounds. It's like, oh, there's a ship incoming. And what do you see? One X-Wing.
Yeah. What's that going to do?
Yeah. Even Kara was like, one X-Wing? What the fuck is that going to do? She doesn't say fuck, but I'm saying it.
She thought it.
She thought it, and I thought it. But so I was sitting there. I was watching this with my oldest daughter and my son. The three of us are sitting there. And my first thought was like, oh my God, it's Luke. And I was like, no, it's not Luke. And then as soon as I thought it, my son said it. He's like, that's Luke. And I was like, then I thought it and I said it while I was like, no.
To be fair, he said that about Baby Yoda. He's like, that's Luke. Like, no, it's not. Mandalorian walks out. That's Luke. No, Richard, come on. What are you doing?
So this is how jaded I've become as an adult, Shawn. I immediately, as soon as I see that X-Wing, my first thought is complete disbelief and meta thinking. You fourth wall think the entire that entire sequence in those 5 seconds that you see an X-Wing fly by, and then Bo-Katan's like, identify yourself, and the ship just flies into the docking bay, no sound or nothing. And
you know what that is,
Richard,
Richard,
going,
right?
Well, that's not Luke.
And it's actually, you're making a great point. Your son still has that youthful innocence to him.
Yeah.
Where he's watching this and he's like, oh my God, it's Luke. Like, why wouldn't it be Luke? In the timeline, it's got to be Luke. And you're like, no, because he wouldn't be able to get signed a contract.
Yeah, like
he's
they
old.
wouldn't be able to get Mark Hamill.
Like,
he's
I know
too old.
I know they got that youth software, but come on, like they're not going to do that for this. It's probably somebody stupid. Yeah. I'm going to turn this off. We're done watching this. I hate Star Wars.
Yeah, but you're like I think every single adult, and I watched people react to I spent the day today watching YouTube videos of people reacting to that moment, and almost everybody I saw had the exact same thought process out loud. They were like, "Oh my God, is it? No, there's no way. How would they do that? They didn't do that."
And then they did a great job of sprinkling stuff in the like it felt like this was going to either be the biggest just troll ever.
Exactly.
Or they were doing it.
Oh, it felt like such a troll because you saw the ship fly by and fly in, and you're going, well, it's not Luke, so who else could it be? And then you cut to a security camera and you see this cloaked, hooded figure just like quick walking down this hall.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, Oh, the other thing is that made you realize it was a Jedi was because the ship flies by, docks, and then Grogu was kind of like,
Oh yeah, starts kind of reaching for the screen.
Yeah, well, no, like as soon as the ship flies by,
Oh
Grogu's
yeah, you're
like,
right.
Wait a minute.
The
And so
screen, the
even
part with
I'm like, wait a minute.
well, I figured it would probably be some kind of Jedi because they were really leading to that. But yeah, you see him perk up. You're like, oh, okay. But then when he's kind of reaching at the screen, when you're seeing the lightsaber action, where he looks back at Mando's like, Dad, this is my new hero.
So hooded figure walking down the hall. Even then, I'm like, well, who could this be?
Yeah. You get some lightsaber action on a black and white screen. So
Yeah,
you're like, well,
oh, that's. At first, you're going. My first thought was honestly, I was like, well, it's got to be Ahsoka, you know. But then you see somebody wielding a lightsaber again, black and white cam footage, so you can't see a color or anything. But you see somebody like, you know, just cutting through dark troopers like butter. And that's when I was like, well, it's not Ahsoka because Ahsoka has 2 lightsabers and this person's only using 1. And I'm like,
and you're like, they've already had 1 girl moment. They can't have 2.
And you're sitting there going like even at that point, I'm still like, no, it's not. They did not. There's no way. And I think I was sitting there out loud going, no, don't fuck with me. Don't fuck with me on this. Don't fuck with me on this. And then we finally get the color footage. And what steps into frame, Shawn? It's a green lightsaber.
With a black gloved hand.
Oh my Jesus. I lost my fucking mind. Top of my lungs, just, ah! And both of my kids were like, ah! Like all 3 of us are just like, oh my God, what are we watching?
Well, you think like that's a moment, like you think about, is all this stuff worth it? Like that's a moment in time, right? You know, that's a moment when you read it or not really read, but like when you see it on screen, it's fulfilled like moments when you were a 12-year-old kid playing with action figures. I heard Kevin Smith say like what Favreau and Filoni are doing. It's like you go over their house, you're watching them play with all these action figures, and you don't even want to play. You just want to watch.
Yeah, right. And he's just, again, like almost effortlessly just mowing through these dark troopers that you saw Din like basically have a like barely scrape by with.
Yeah.
And Luke shows up and he's just dead.
Force pull, slicing him, force crushing him.
Yeah.
Like total like extreme dark Jedi master, Jedi master.
There is a line of them in the hallway leading up to the bridge. Like probably, you know, at least like 8 or 9 of them. As soon as that elevator door opens, Shawn, what do we get? We get it's like the complete parallel of Darth Vader in a hallway. I don't know what it is with Star Wars and slicing motherfuckers up in a hallway, but apparently nobody does it better.
Well, in this situation, at least it was not real people. It was just robots.
Yeah, with Darth Vader, he was cutting up actual human beings.
But I think you were the one that pointed out that parallel. But yeah, it's like he's fighting very much like Anakin did, or I guess Darth Vader did in that scene. Like
his dad.
And what's kind of clever about that, like Rogue One, I think is still highly thought of as one of the better Disney Star Wars movies.
Yes. Yeah,
and to pull from that specific moment, I think is pretty big.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty smart to be like, hey, this is something that actually works. Let's play into that and keep building on this mythos.
Yeah. Yeah. So moving through this hallway, just slicing up these dark troopers like nothing. I mean, he's doing spins, and as soon as that door opens, he just bap, slice, pull and cut. And then he does this little like spin move and then combines it with a push. And oh, Shawn, my heart was full in that moment.
It's epic level going up against noobs.
It's everything I ever wanted. It's everything I wanted.
Yeah, and in that moment, you're seeing like the next multiple years in that moment too. You see this kid who is, I guess, like he's not a kid now, but you see the darkness a little bit into him.
Yeah.
How he can very much like slowly lose that and go like the path of his dad still. Yeah.
Just like his dad. Like I said, you know, like he fought like he was fighting like his dad.
Yeah. Yeah.
So slices all these troopers up, and then Din's like, well, I'm going to open the door. And everybody else is like, are you fucking nuts?
He's like, no, we got the kid. I think he's a bomb.
Also, one thing, did you notice that as soon as Moff Gideon sees the screen and realizes who it is on the screen, like he shits himself basically?
Well, I mean, at that moment, was he already starting to cut through people?
He was, like on the security cam footage, yeah. As soon as he sees the lightsaber come out, like that's when all of a sudden Moff Gideon goes white.
Well, and I mean, you consider that's kind of their Michael Myers, right? Like the only Jedis that are around that took down the Empire.
Exactly, because you know, I mean, you're talking about Moff Gideon, like he's a Moff. He's a, you know, he's the equivalent of a 4-star general.
Yeah,
you know, he was a regional governor. So, if anybody has heard the stories of Luke Skywalker killing the Emperor and Darth Vader, like if anybody's heard those stories, the kid that blew up the Death Star, you know, the Jedi Knight that killed the Emperor, it's Moff Gideon. Yeah. So as soon as he sees that, he's like, nope.
Game over, man. Game over.
Like he's terrified. And so then he pulls out his blaster. He tries to shoot Din, and then he's like, oh, that's right, fucking armor.
He's like, oh, wait, I'm supposed to kill myself.
Well, no, then he tries to shoot at the kid.
Yeah.
And the thing, like, even though it's Star Wars and you're like, well, they're not going to kill a kid on fucking screen.
I thought the shots got through.
I did too. In that moment, like, all your belief is suspended. Like, you are 100% locked into this show. Like you show me Luke Skywalker, and so now everything is on the table.
So what happens is they kill the kid, and Luke walks in. He goes, "Oh, he's gone. Well, I guess that must make me the last Jedi."
God damn it! I hate you so much right now.
Guess it's time to go to my island.
So Din opens the door. This green saber figure walks in and puts the saber away, pulls back the hood, and we see Shawn. It's Luke fucking Skywalker.
Yeah, it's a young Luke Skywalker. It looked good. I mean, you look at this day and age, like that looked like young Luke Skywalker better than you could have done 15, 20 years ago.
I agree. It
did look a little bit rougher than I think we're used to when you think of, like, you know, young Kurt Russell and during Rogue One, was it Grand Moff Tarkin? Tarkin. Like seeing like I didn't know that was a fake guy. Like I didn't know that was the CGI thing.
It's for me, it feels like Moff Tarkin is like Tarkin's the best that I've seen so far.
But it seems kind of like the Princess Leia, like in Rogue One. It's like it's not terrible, but you kind of it definitely takes you out of it a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
And that could be because you know
they did do a smart thing that I think helped is the fact that he didn't move. Like once he got to his mark, like he stood still and like kind of almost like barely mouthed his lines. Yeah, like there wasn't a lot of facial movement, and I think that helped sell it.
Which I think you have to do. Like in this moment, like this isn't the Luke Skywalker movie. It's just a Luke Skywalker moment.
Right.
And you don't want to do something that looks so egregious that you're like, all right, this takes me out of it.
Yeah. Well, and I think it also, I mean, probably inadvertently, but I think it plays to Luke's character in that moment where you realize that, you know, Luke is at this point in Luke's story, he is a fully fledged Jedi Knight. You know, he's in his Return of the Jedi outfit, you know, like it's that costume. Like You see those clothes. That's the mode he's in, where he is not only Jedi Knight, but you can tell that he's got a lot of shit on his mind.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of weight on those shoulders
yeah,
right now.
Like, hey, I don't know if you know this, but 5 years ago, I watched my father die in front of me. And it's kind of my fault.
I learned we both were missing a hand and had robot hands. And I'm going through some stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So he pulls the hood back, and instantly, like, I was like, oh my God, it's fucking Luke Skywalker. It's Luke Skywalker. Like, the second and third and fourth and fifth and later times that I watched it, I mean, I definitely noticed like it doesn't look 100%, but it was definitely enough to fool me the first time.
Yeah.
Like, not like you give me Luke Skywalker's face and you give me Luke Skywalker's voice.
Yeah, with Mark Hamill voicing it.
Yeah, and they're like, and Din's like, "Are you a Jedi?" And I'm like, "Oh my God!" I was like, "Who are you asking?"
Yeah, that was pretty funny. Well, it's weird too that like he didn't really even know what Jedis were at the beginning of the series.
Yeah,
it's like, Jedi, what is that? Have no clue. It's like, dude, do you even watch the movies?
Yeah, like, are you a space wizard with a laser sword? I'm like, what did you just watch?
Do you have something that goes beep boop 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 beep?
Oh, okay. So
before you jump in that,
I'm already riding like this big emotional high from seeing, my childhood hero lay waste to a, army of fucking indestructible troopers, and then he shows up and he's like, "I am a Jedi. Come on, little guy," and then. While I'm on that high emotional note, now I'm going to get the goodbye.
You're talking about the goodbye between Mando and Grogu? Yeah.
And because then all of a sudden Din's like, well, he doesn't want to go with you. And I'm almost wondering, like, is he reaching for his pistol?
Like, wait, did you just see what he did?
Yeah, I'm like, he doesn't want to go with you. And then Luke's like, he only wants your permission. And I'm like, oh my God. I was like, not right now. I was like, do this in a minute. I was like, give me a second. I need a second, but nope. He picks little Grogu up, and he's like, you gotta go with him. He's gonna help you.
Yeah, he's one of your kind.
Yeah. And then Grogu's like touching his helmet.
Yeah, before he reached for the helmet, I told my wife, I'm like, he's taking that helmet off.
I did too.
Coming off.
Yep. But you know what? I knew it was coming, and he did it. And as soon as he did it, I'm like, come on, man.
So one thing I heard that is really interesting. So you're Luke Skywalker, and you're sitting there, and the first time that you saw your father's face was 5 years ago when you're basically leaving him, and now you're taking Grogu away from his father figure the very first time that he's seeing his father's face.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, and you're seeing Mando tearing up. Like, this is like a badass warrior seeing a ton of stuff, and here he is tearing up.
And he's like letting go his foundling.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. And like, so at that point, like, you've put me on this like emotional high, and now you've got me like this close.
Yeah, you're like, it's tears. Almost over. Hold it tight. Hold it tight.
I am on the verge of tears at that moment, okay? So then he puts little Grogu down, and then what the fuck do you do to me? What do you do to me, Fabs?
You bring him out.
You bring out from behind Luke, I see R2 fucking D2. And that's when I'm like, okay, that's it. Now I'm crying. Here come the tears. And now the tears are going. Like, that's oh my God, Shawn.
The R2D2 moment gave me kind of like that, like crying laughter, because as like he puts Grogu down, he starts walking towards Luke. I told Tiffany, I'm like from Luke's perspective again, I'm like, oh my God, like he was trained by Yoda, and now he's essentially training like baby Yoda. Like it's a full circle kind of thing.
And then fucking R2 comes around the corner, and that's when I'm like looking at my kids to make sure my kids don't see me cry. and I'm like wiping my face. And I thought about it, and I think, Groku, was definitely like super cute, and you're like, oh my god, look at this cute little thing. And I know that there's, tons of like kids that are like, oh my god, I love Baby Yoda so much. He's the cutest thing in the entire world. Baby Yoda is life, like like that in a way I would say for a lot of kids, Baby Yoda's the, like their way in.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
And I get it. I totally get it. Fucking R2D2 was my Baby Yoda. That's when I realized that in that moment. I was like, R2D2's my Baby Yoda. Cause you show me I can't. Shawn, stop. I can't.
Yeah. Oh, he's sitting there bouncing back and forth, like just talk, like because Groku's
as soon as
scared.
He comes around the corner, I'm like, oh my god, it's fucking R2D2.
Yeah. Well, and it's just like you, like Groku is trying to go back, and he's scared. But what brought you into Star Wars? It's R2D2. It made you feel safe.
Oh, I was trying not to. I was trying so hard, not to do this. Fucking, you show me R2D2, man.
It takes you back to a good place.
That's when I was instantly fucking 7 years old.
Oh, yeah.
Right there. That's when I was 7 years old. And I'm like, look at that little fucking droid. It's so fucking awesome.
Fucking R2D2 is my life.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, that's what these guys are doing great work. Like, they talk about, like, can we bring in new fans and, like, do not really fan service, but, like,
the meme picture. Talk about the meme. I'm going to compose myself. You talk about the meme picture you saw.
Yeah, it was something about, like, you can never, like, do, fan service and, bring in new fans. And you see Favreau's like, wait, hold my beer. And that's what he did. And this, you think about, like, what they've done with the MCU, and now they have free run over Star Wars. Like, you have people who, like, you think about Black Panther and what they did with that.
Yeah.
There is so much IP and new IP that they can make out of this. That's going to be somebody's, like, going to be that. It's going to be something for some kid that doesn't have that right now, and they're going to get it in the space movie.
Yep. Well, Luke picks up little Baby Yoda. Oh, you know what? The other thing I totally forgot to mention, and the thing that that helped put me on that giant emotional high is when Luke pulls the hood back. We get Luke's theme. We get Luke's musical theme that I had heard for the last 6 movies.
Wasn't it a little bit darker though? Like a little bit down.
When he was fighting, yeah, it was a little bit darker. But as soon as you pull the hood back and you see it's Luke, then instantly that one little brass horn playing that. Playing that theme that you get of, the theme that you first heard when you saw this little kid standing on a dune in the desert looking at twin suns setting in the distance. Yeah. Oh, he takes little Grogu. They go in the elevator. Elevator door closes. Credits.
Yeah. They don't stick around on it. Great way to end it. Great way to end season 2.
I was emotionally exhausted, but like, I felt like I had just, like somebody had just emotionally like fucked me well. That's what it felt like. Like I sat back on my couch. I was like, oh my God.
Well, it's like, I mean, most of the time, whenever you get any of these old properties that have anything done with it, at the end, you never feel satisfied. It's just like, okay, either it was like good enough or it sucked.
Yeah.
But this was once like, I don't know what they could have done better. Like everything I could have thought of or wanted and didn't even know I wanted happened on this screen.
That's exactly it. And
you got it for $8, Richard.
I did. And it felt so good. Like my heart was so full. Like I said, as soon as the credits rolled, I just sat back on the couch and I was just like, oh my God. I can't. It's too much. I can't. Okay. But wait, apparently there was one other thing that happens, and it's a good thing that I stuck around because I was just so emotionally drained.
That was the plan the whole time.
I think that was the plan. I was so emotionally drained, I didn't, exit out of the episode. I let the credits run. And that's when I noticed that it was Mark Hamill's name in the credits. Yeah. And that's when I was like, how did they keep this quiet?
That's what I'm curious about, because so one of the things I find interesting is like right now you look at these streaming services and Amazon, I think it was Disney that did it first. It's like, no, we're releasing week by week. And I think season 1 and this season 2 has proven that that's the model everybody should be doing. There should be weekly releases. Because could you imagine if they released all of this the very first Friday and you powered through it? It would not have held, I think, the same effect.
You know what? I have not thought about that. But as soon as you say that, yeah, I completely agree. The fact that I have to wait, 6 days before I get another fix.
Yeah, you have to sit there, you process it. And if this was the last episode you watch, you'd be like, oh, sweet. It was, I've spent 14 hours watching all this stuff.
Yeah.
And Luke Skywalker came up.
Yep. Kind of like it would be more like a sugar high.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I binged through 16 hours, 8 hours of Mandalorian, and at the very end I'm like, that felt really good. Okay, like that felt really good. But after after watching things for 2 months, and I get to the very end and you give me that, I'm like, oh
yeah, now I want to go back and binge it or watch it again.
Yep.
But I feel like for because the other thing we've been talking about is like, okay, well, all the stuff they announced for Star Wars, which I guess, go ahead. I guess you're alluding to that. So what did we see at the end?
End credits. Like we see the twin sons, and I'm like, that's when I'm like, wait a minute, there's more. Like I was like, oh my God, there's more. So you see the twin sons, camera pans over, and we see Jabba's palace, and instantly I'm like, it's Jabba's palace. And then the camera pans over into Jabba's throne room, and who's sitting on the throne? Like my kid. Okay, this is the part where I totally am like, this is where I'm like, throwing down my fucking bona fides, because like the camera pans over and the kids are like, who's that? I was like, that's fucking Bib Fortuna. And they were like, who? I'm like, Bib Fortuna from Return of the Jedi. And they were like, oh, okay. I'm like, Bib Fortuna got fat.
Yeah, I did. I love that little add-on.
Bib Fortuna's a chunky monkey.
So what I thought this was going to be was it was going to show us how Boba Fett got out of the Sarlacc. Like this was going to be a flashback. But no, sir, it was not.
No, it was not, because Ming-Na Wen comes down the stairs. She's shooting motherfuckers. She shoots the chain off the little Twi'lek slave girl, and she's like, get the fuck out of here. And she runs off, and then she's just standing there. And did you not have that moment where she walks over and you're like, oh, don't stand there.
Yeah,
don't stand there.
Yeah.
And then Boba Fett comes down the steps, and you're like, holy fuck, what's going to happen now?
I love that it was quick, too.
Because Boba Fett comes down those stairs, and Bib Fortuna's like, hey, guy.
Yeah, I heard stories. I thought you were dead.
How's it going?
Poof.
Yep. Boba's like, whatever.
There's a new sheriff in town.
Shoots him dead. He leans over, and Boba just walks right up, fucking tosses him off the throne, and then you hear like that music kicks in, and Boba sets his gun down, and then sits down in that chair and kind of like leans back into it. Ming-Na Wen grabs the bottle of SmodCo, and she comes over and sits down, puts the gun, kind of like cocks the gun on her leg. And immediately, like, I paused it at that moment because I stopped and I'm like, I need this as a mural, and I want it as a full wall mural. I want to cover a wall with this picture.
I want to go to the Sistine Chapel and put this over top of everything.
I want Adam and Eve to touch fingers, and right in between, I want this. I want this image. Like that was something like you were saying, I didn't know I wanted this.
Yeah.
But now I want this. Give me this.
Yeah, and you don't know what it is. You're like, well, what's this going to be? Is this just a cool little end credit scene?
Yeah.
Goes to black, and what do you get?
Says the Book of Boba Fett, and I'm like, what?
I have to read?
Coming December of 2021.
Yes.
So in less than 12 months, I'm going to see more of that?
Yeah.
Come
Give it
on.
to me. And you didn't even know about it. You know what I mean?
I didn't even know about it, but now there's nothing in this world I want more.
Yeah, 2 weeks prior, you get this whole like, oh my God, here is all of the Star Wars stuff. Nothing about Boba Fett.
Nope. So apparently there was a lot of confusion that a lot of people apparently thought that this was going to be that Mandalorian at that point was over. And now season 3 of The Mandalorian is going to be this Book of Boba Fett. So I caught an interview with Jon Favreau, and he admits, he's like, apparently, some people think that this Book of Boba Fett is going to be this, season 3. And he's like, no, it's a separate thing. He's like,
yeah, it's a spin-off.
we're doing Mandalorian season 3 and this and the Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah,
so I get you're going to give me another show. Yeah, and you're telling me it's going to be ready to go in 11 months?
The question's going to be here pretty quick. It's like, you're not going to need anything but Disney Plus. Like, you're going to have something for every day of the week between the MCU, between this. And one of the things we talked about this, like with all those announcements, there's only one movie.
No. Yeah. Only one movie out of all this.
And so like you start wondering, it's like, okay, is Disney starting to put all their chips into Disney Plus being like, listen, movie theaters probably aren't coming back anytime soon. Let's just make this content. We can. It's cheaper, I think, because they don't have to go everywhere.
Yeah, I think it's cheaper, especially with oh God, what do they call it? The volume.
Yeah,
with that volume stage that they, they're like, we can put anywhere.
Yeah. The risk reward. So like you make a series and it bombs. Well, you just had one season of it. It's over. You find something else. Do something else. But you make a movie. It's hundreds of millions of dollars, and if it bombs, all right, well, now we're in really bad trouble. It does a Solo type thing. It's like, okay, we got all these reshoots, we got all this other crap for one movie.
Yeah,
and so that's where
and
like
also and I think this, I think you're able to tell a more complex and better story.
Oh, 100%.
Over the course of 8 episodes or 10, or even 6 episodes, you're able to tell a better story, a more full, rich story, which, considering that, Star Wars is so diverse, that you're able to, showcase things and, and leave little crumbs everywhere. You're able to tell a much better story, I think, over the course of, I think that obviously that's true. You're able to tell a better story over 6 hours than you are over 90 minutes.
Yeah. Well, you think like the Solo movie, if you could have had a Solo series, it probably would have been better received.
Yeah.
You could have spent that whole first season on him and Chewie meeting each other instead of it being just a quick little, like, oh yeah, okay, I get that reference. Sweet. It would have been like you would have seen the whole lifeline of that event.
Yeah. So the question is, why didn't we know about the Book of Boba Fett? And apparently Favreau also answered this by saying that, Disney announced all these Star Wars shows. And so Favreau personally was like, hey, for the Boba Fett show, for the Book of Boba Fett, can you leave that announcement off? And then we will put it at the finale of Mandalorian. So they intentionally didn't announce this Boba Fett show because they wanted to drop it at the end of Mandalorian.
Which I think is extremely smart. When you got your own service like this feels like a reward for getting through a season.
Exactly. It's almost like, because you're showing it to people that are going to want to watch it.
Exactly. Yeah, it's its own commercial.
Yeah.
And You know, like if you start doing that, where like at the end of each season, you have some kind of like nugget like this, where it's prepping you for the next thing.
Mhm.
Like that's just super smart because it kind of puts you in the club, right? You're in the Disney Plus club where you get through the season and you get to see the next thing before anybody else does because nobody can spoil that for you.
Yeah.
And like even this one, like I knew nothing about this Boba Fett
Nobody
series. Well, no, even so I didn't watch this until Sunday, so it was like 3 days after it had been out. Nothing I saw, even though I got spoiled on some of the stuff from the episode, nothing about this book of Boba Fett was spoiled for me.
Oh, I gotcha.
Which I feel like Star Wars has always been really, really good about like the fan base of not spoiling stuff.
Yeah, I agree. They have been really good about it. So Shawn, we spent an hour and 15 minutes just talking about Mandalorian.
Yeah, 30 minutes more than the show ran.
So now I think now again we were supposed to dovetail into this slate of Star Wars related projects, which now you're excited about. Oh, that's yeah. So to go back to what I said before is that, you know, they announce all this stuff and you as a viewer are going like, man, I don't know if they can do all this. Like Mandalorian's good, but man, I don't know. Like that seems like a lot.
To be fair, season 1 of Mandalorian was like, it's good.
Yeah.
And like we didn't know, like, I don't know if we're getting a season 2 or not, but the first season was good. And all of a sudden in like, I don't know, was it June or July? It felt like, oh no, Mandalorian's coming out in 2 months. And you're like, oh, what, you mean they're filming? It's like, no, they're done. You're like, oh, okay, I'm in. And this was like a much better season. Like you talk about most seasons, 2s are like the sophomore slump.
Yes.
And they did a great job from start to finish in this season.
I feel like there was definitely no filler. Like, you know how like, with a lot of series, you get like a filler episode here and there. Like this second season definitely felt like there was everything that was there needed to be there.
And you know what Disney is doing smart? So first off, doing the week-to-week releases, I think is genius. But the other thing is that they are not pushing for like 12-episode seasons.
Right.
Netflix is really bad. Every season's got to be 10 or 12 episodes.
Yeah.
And they have to be like 45 to 50 minutes.
Yeah.
With
First season of Mandalorian was
8.
was 9. I thought it was 9.
I think both were 8. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
because there's 16 total.
Yeah,
but
you're right.
But even then, like, so they have an episode, it's 35 minutes. Like they don't try to push to make it 46 or 48.
Yeah.
It's the episode is what it is.
Uh-huh.
And I think Disney being able to crack that code, it's like, listen, people want a good show. They don't have to sit there for 45 minutes. If you give them a 35-minute episode, they're not going to be pissed because they missed an extra 10 minutes. They're going to be happy if it's a good episode.
Yeah.
And
like
so I
put
think,
in there what's in there. Like you've got all the time in the world.
Yeah. And if it does run extra, it runs extra. But, you don't need to make it 10 episodes or 12 episodes. 8 it kind of feels like the sweet spot. You get kind of, your traditional 3-structure act out of that.
Yeah.
So I think they're kind of they're going against the grain a little bit in terms of like what other streaming services are doing, but I think they're doing everything right.
Yeah. You're stretching out basically a 4-hour, like roughly a 4-hour movie.
Yeah.
Which,
almost like,
if you saw it all in one sitting, you'd be like, oh my God, it's so much. But again, like you were saying, you do it week to week and it feels okay.
Yeah. Well, and you get like, that's the other thing we're missing from, like, there's not really appointment TV anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And like Mandalorian was appointment TV for me. Walking Dead used to be like that for me. And it just gave me that excitement. Like, oh my God, it's Sunday night. Like I got to watch this thing.
Yeah.
And with Mandalorian, I mean, it's got that still where it's like, oh, it's Friday night, I got to watch it. But you have the streaming effect too, where it's like, well, I can't watch it Friday, but I can watch it anytime I want once I get a chance.
Yeah.
Or when my wife goes to bed and I sneak downstairs and I watch it on my phone.
That's what you should have done.
I thought about it, but.
Okay, so going from the Disney Plus announcement we were talking about, do you feel... I feel 100% more optimistic about the upcoming stuff than I did before this finale. I think the ultimate takeaway here is like it's good to be a Star Wars fan again.
Oh yeah, I think the second half of the season, each episode kind of made me feel better and wanting more.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely like I worried about oversaturation. Like you look at the CW and they have all these different, DC character shows, and it gets to be a bit much.
Yeah.
But then again, what they're doing is they have 6 different shows, but they're doing 20 plus episodes, a season.
True.
But if you're getting all these that are like in between 8 and 10, and you have like one big event, like your movie is this big event crossover thing, I would think that would be greght. Like,
also like some of these, are just kind of like a one and done. Like to start off, like Ahsoka. As far as I know about Ahsoka, it's just gonna be like, I think it's like 5 or 6 episodes, and that's it. Like we're gonna tell one story, and it's done.
Yeah, and I think
like you're getting this Ahsoka miniseries, and then that's it.
Well, and that's what the Obi-Wan's supposed to be too, right? Just like a one-off type thing.
Yeah, I think, I believe so. So yeah, with Obi-Wan, you're getting, 5 or you're probably getting like 7 or 8 episodes, and then that's it.
Yeah, and I think that's a great way to play, because you can always make more, but I think just playing to like, we're going to do this season this way, and maybe whoever's in it, likes it and wants to do another season. Then you try to plan for that, but make the one season good.
Make one thing good, and then we'll talk about more. It's, the thing that it clicks in my head is Watchmen.
Great point.
We got that one season of Watchmen, and it was fucking amazing. It was the best thing I saw on television in all of 2019 was Watchmen. Hands down, best show on television all of 2019. And as soon as the show ended, people were like, well, what's going to happen next? And the showrunner, the guy that, created or that wrote the Watchmen show, he's like, well, nothing. He's like, this is it.
Yeah.
He's like, I had a story in my head of a story I wanted to tell, and I told it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's it. He's like, maybe later I'll come up with another one that I maybe want to do. And if I do, cool. But if I don't, then that's it.
Yeah. And I think that's why we're kind of getting the best of both worlds if we keep going in this direction. Because if that was more network TV, and I even think if that was kind of like strictly HBO, even though it was on HBO, but I think HBO Max is kind of saving that, he would have just been like a boatload of money dumped in his things. Like, hey, come up with Watchmen 2.
Yeah,
because you have to, because we need it.
And I'm sure probably on some level that probably happened because Watchmen was huge for HBO.
Yeah,
and I'm sure like at some point somebody walked up to that with a blank check and was like, "Give us Watchmen 2," and he's like, "I don't have it."
Yeah, but I think with HBO Max, it's like you'd be like, "Well, what do you have next?" It's like, "Oh, I have Watchmen 2, or I have this other idea." And he's like, I don't have anything for Watchmen 2, but I have this completely other idea that we can put on your platform.
Mm-hmm.
So you're just getting like, it's just great ideas from people instead of trying just to stay stuck in one box.
Exactly. You're getting great ideas. You're getting great stories. And now we get a bunch of great stories from Favs. I'm calling them Favs now because we're best friends.
Star Favs.
I'm calling them Favs because we're best friends and I love him so much. Favs and Filoni. That's the dynamic duo here. So Filoni is he is writing the Ahsoka series. That's what he's working on. Like I said, as far as I understand, it's only going to be a mini series. So we're talking like I think they're saying like 5 or 6 episodes and done. So the same with Obi-Wan. The other series that the good old Favs is working on, aside from Mandalorian, and also apparently aside from the Book of Boba Fett, is Rangers of the New Republic.
Is that the one I heard that's supposed to be like? Because I've heard that one of these new series is supposed to be like the 2 guys that found Mando in that spider cave. It's basically gonna be like Chips, but in Star Wars universe.
It might include those guys. Because, I mean, again, this is the Favs and Filoni are, Filoni's working on Ahsoka. Favs is working on season 3 of Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, and this Rangers of the New Republic. Now, timeline wise, this is going to be set in that timeline. So right in that same spot in the timeline. The same with Ahsoka. Ahsoka's also going to be set in that point in the Star Wars timeline.
Yeah, it seems like they're putting a lot of their movie or their TV shows and stuff kind of in this time frame.
Yeah. So Boba Fett, Rangers of the New Republic, and Ahsoka are all taking place at the same time in the overall timeline. So we're talking like 5 or 6 years post Return of the Jedi.
Something like that, yeah.
So Rangers of the New Republic, they hint that all 3 series will be interconnected, which means obviously that they can possibly cross over. They're set in the same timeline anyway.
Yeah, I wonder if it'll be more like references in some and then maybe a little bit of crossover in others.
Yeah.
Because you got to be careful with that because that can get hokey pretty quick.
It can. But like you were saying, if you're only doing 6 or 7,
it could work.
Another one is Andor. So Andor is set back. So Andor is set pre A New Hope. And it's about Cassian Andor, who we saw in Rogue One.
Mm-hmm.
Same actors. Alan Tudyk's back as K2SO.
Oh, cool.
This is apparently set for 12 episodes, and this is going to be in 2022. They are filming it. I saw little snippets that they are filming it. I don't know what the tone of it is going to be. Like if they're making it, more of an actiony, kind of, I'm not sure. Because Cassian Andor was more like, seemed to me like more of the scoundrelly spy thing.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing. Like Book of Boba Fett, like where are you gonna go?
Well, I was kind of wondering if it's going to be him settling like old debts.
Oh my God! Who he needs to settle an old debt with?
When you get that like last episode's him and Han Solo, like you get the classic moment where they pull the gun on each other,
which you never would have imagined. Never would have thought that because you're like, they're not going to put Han Solo in it. But I never thought I was going to see Luke fucking Skywalker.
Yeah.
There he is.
You're probably not getting
everything's on the table for me.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get Harrison Ford to voice it.
I'm going to see Han Solo and Darth Vader in a lightsaber fight. That's what I'm going to see. Because everything is apparently up for grabs now. Some other shows, The Bad Batch. Which did you watch? How deep did you get into the Clone Wars?
I'm like 15 or 20 episodes into the first season.
Okay, so
I pick it up like every other year, and
at the very end of the Clone Wars, you learn about this group of I think they refer to them kind of as like reject troopers, like troopers that don't, are very unconventional in their warfare style.
Okay.
And so these guys form a unit, like their own kind of like special forces commando clone unit during the Clone Wars, and it's called the Bad Batch.
Oh, that'd be fun. That's animated, right?
It is animated. So Bad Batch is apparently taking place post Revenge of the Sith.
Okay.
So this is a clone trooper unit that is still together after the Clone Wars.
And so they're fighting the Empire?
I don't know if they're fighting the Empire or if they're fighting crime lords or who the fuck knows what they're doing. Apparently there's another show called Star Wars Visions.
That's like some kind of anime thing.
Yeah,
right?
A collection of 10 animated short films taking place in the Star Wars universe. Each film will come from a different animation studio. The Star Wars galaxy through the lens of the world's best Japanese anime creators. So Star Wars anime, Star Wars hentai. What do you think Jabba's going to do with that tail? Or the Sarlacc? Sarlacc's got all those tentacles. I know absolutely nothing about this other than the title, Lando.
There's not much like we don't know if it's young or old Lando.
Nope. Yeah. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Is it young Lando? Is it old Lando? When is it set? Are we talking
Donald Glover? I haven't heard if he's attached to it at all.
Yeah. There is nothing. There's nothing out there right now. Maybe
it's a talk show.
Ooh, there you go.
It's like a Space Ghost Coast to Coast.
But it's but it's just fucking Lando sitting there with a Colt 45 like, chit-chatting with people.
Alderaan, you're on the line. Go.
Walla, go ahead. The Acolyte. I am really interested in this one. So the Acolyte is set in the High Republic era. So we're talking the Old Republic, like way Old Republic. So from what I understand about this is going to be set, obviously, I think a few hundred years pre Phantom Menace. So all the characters you know and love aren't even born yet.
Oh, nice. That'll be fun.
The only one you might see is Yoda, maybe, because he's the only one that would be alive.
In this promotional picture, they've got a Wookiee with this lightsaber.
Well, because the cool thing about the High Republic is not only do you have a whole bunch of Jedi, but you also have a whole bunch of Sith, because this is pre the rule of two. So there is a whole bunch of bad guys running around with lightsabers.
Nice. So you're going to get like your Star Wars Jedi versus Sith war.
Right. And it's the one thing that like a lot of Star Wars fans have been clamoring for, like, oh my God, like, why don't you set a television show or a movie way back when, and you can, that way you're out of canon, you can do whatever the fuck you want.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, because 700 years, anything you do will be fine in 700 years. You can get back to where you need to be.
Exactly. So the Acolyte is apparently going to star a Sith character.
Oh, interesting.
That's why it's called the Acolyte. So basically you're going to get a show from the point of view, the POV of the bad guy.
Interesting. I'd be down for that.
And the other thing I've heard about it is that they're trying to, apparently the tone of the show is going to be kind of like a spy thriller kind of show, which, I mean, if you give me like something in the vein of like Winter Soldier.
Oh yeah.
Kind of like almost like a Jason Bourne-esque kind of noir.
But with lightsabers and stuff like that.
Lightsabers and Jedi. Fuck yeah.
Well, I'd be down for that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like 9 shows. And even if there's going to be so much crossover with all that stuff too. Cause they're not, this is going to be coming out in 21 and 22, right?
And then also the last 2 things, cause we were talking about movies, only 2 movies on the slate. One is Rogue Squadron, which will be directed by Patty Jenkins, who did Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I heard she's got that.
And apparently she's super pumped about it because she was. I saw this preview video I saw of it. Apparently her dad was a fighter pilot.
Yeah, I caught a bit of that.
She said her dad was a fighter pilot and that she always wanted to make like a dogfighting, like Top Gun kind of movie, or style of movie.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's gonna do a Rogue Squadron.
Nice. Give her that. That'd be great.
So Rogue Squadron was it was an X-Wing fighter group that basically it was the best pilots in the rebellion were members of this group called Rogue Squadron. Luke was the head of Rogue Squadron, so it was Luke, Wedge Antilles, like all your big name, all the big name pilots.
So is this going to have Luke in it, you think, or
I don't know,
because you're probably going to have to recast if it is. Right?
Yeah, you're going to have to recast if it is. But I mean, if you set Rogue Squadron in the kind of the same timeline as Mandalorian,
yeah, true.
then you don't necessarily have to have Luke there. Luke's off doing his own thing. He's off, saving small green children and fucking training his nephew to stab him in the head.
Yeah.
So you don't have to, The other one that I'm excited about, but I know absolutely nothing. And no one knows anything, is apparently there is a movie that Taika Waititi is supposed to direct.
Oh, it's just Star Wars Taika movie?
Taika's making a Star Wars movie. No one knows anything about it.
Darth Vader movie.
But hey, the guy that made Thor Ragnarok and What We Do in the Shadows and Jojo Rabbit, like that guy's going to do a Star Wars movie.
He probably shouldn't do a Darth Vader one then, because you want like a dark Darth Vader.
Right. Yeah. So Taika is apparently doing a Star Wars movie. That's all anybody knows. Now, Taika did direct the season 1 finale of Mandalorian.
Did he direct anything in this season? I don't think he did.
I don't think he did either. One thing with Mandalorian is that like every episode had a different director, and I think they got a completely new slate for season 2. I think the only repeat director was Jon Favreau, who did the opening, he did the first episode in the first season, and he did the last episode in the second season. But yeah, I know Taika directed the season 1 finale, but I don't know if he did anything in season 2. But he is apparently working on a Star Wars movie, and that's all anybody knows.
Nice. He's only 45.
He's such a good director. I really like his movies. What We Do in the Shadows was fantastic. And Jojo Rabbit was mwah.
Wait, so he's doing Thor: Love and Thunder.
And he's doing the new Thor movie.
They've got him on here as the Suicide Squad. Is he just producing that?
Maybe. I have no idea.
Or maybe he's in it.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's in it.
Yeah. Yeah, there's and like I said, like you thought about 2020 not having like a lot of content being produced, like even before.
Jesus. I was wrong.
21 and 22 is going to keep us busy.
Very busy. And you know what? Just keep at it.
Oh yeah.
Give Jon Favreau and give Dave Filoni, just give them all the money and let them make whatever the fuck they want. Just put some Star Wars characters in it.
And Richard, you're getting this for $8 a month. It's ridiculous. But well, Richard, we've cried, we've laughed, we've got stuff to look forward to. So I want to know what some of your Richard's closing thoughts to tidy up this Mandalorian season finale of season 2 and the future of the Star Wars universe, the SWU.
I think it goes without saying that, like me and a lot of people, we're not fans of the last 2 Star Wars movies, and it's hard. Mm-hmm. It's hard to say that. It's hard to admit.
Yeah, you can't even. In blame a way, Michael Bay.
It kind of harkens back to when you were a kid, and
your dad took your dog up to the farm.
No, like when you're a kid in school and somebody says something and then you make like a Star Wars joke, or you say like, that's like something Han Solo said. And then everybody's like, what? And you're like, nothing. Like you're a little, not embarrassed, but it's hard. It's, and then you get something like this and it's almost like, you get to announce it. You get to be like, I fucking love Star Wars. You get to go outside and yell it, unashamed.
Yeah, and your reply back isn't, shut up, it's me too.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to be a Star Wars fan again. And it's good to, openly admit it. And that's a great feeling.
Yeah, they're doing right now what Iron Man and stuff did for Marvel Comics.
Yeah. And you know who was in charge of that?
Favreau.
Do I sense a pattern?
Ooh, what's Robert Downey Jr. going to play in this?
Whatever the fuck he wants. So yeah, more of this. Let Favs and Filoni make Star Wars content till I die. Have at it.
Phil Favs. Is that going to be their name?
Yep.
Faz Phil.
Favs and Phil.
Favsil. But yeah, I loved it too. I'm glad to see that you got something that kind of brings you back to a childlike state. It's and this is something that's going to bring a whole new generation to Star Wars. So I'm super excited.
Yep.
But as we're tidying this up and getting ready for next year, let me do a little bit of housekeeping. Visit our website. We're at languageofbromance.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at languageofbro. Email us at bros@languageofbromance.com. And make sure you join our Patreon account, like our rebel companions, Wendy and Aaron.
Yeah, you can fly with us anytime.
Yeah, we got to get their call sign.
Ooh, they can be in Red Squadron.
Yeah.
They can be Red 4 and Red 8.
Can I be Red 14?
Sure.
Sweet. All right. Was there anything else before I close her out?
No. I'm emotionally exhausted just talking about everything, and I'm good.
All right. Well, that's all the bromance for this show. I'm Shawn.
And I'm Richard.
And remember, don't be a why.
Be a why not.
Richard, are you going to go watch it again?
I am. I really am. Oh my God, you know me so well.